worst part of a Ouija board session isn't the moment the planchette moves. It's the moment it stops, and nobody wants to be the one to take their fingers off, because that's when people start whispering the rules, like rules can hold a door shut. So here's the question. Do these rules actually protect you from anything, or do they just stop you from losing your mind in the dark? Stay with me. Because by the end, you'll understand where the rules came from, and why the ritual might not stop spirits, but it can stop panic. This is a story about the rules people swear by. Goodbye rituals, circles of salt, candles, mirrors covered, no questions about death. Tonight we're going to walk through one session from start to finish. The night it felt like a game, the turning point when it didn't, the worst moment when the rules became a lifeline, and what it cost the people who broke them. And I'll give you a warning up front. If you're the type who gets spooked easily, don't watch this alone with the lights off. One more rule. If you've ever used a board before, you already know it. Never end without saying goodbye. Not because it's magic, because it's closure. It happened in a rented house at the edge of a small town. One of those places that feels temporary even when you're inside it. 3 friends, early 20s. A storm outside that kept tapping the windows like someone trying to get your attention. They didn't start with belief. They started with boredom. The board was second-hand. The kind you find in a charity shop with a price sticker that won't peel off cleanly. They lit candles because it looked right. They turned off the main light because it felt like the point. And then, before anyone touched the planchette, one of them said, half joking, "Okay, rules. Rule 1, don't do it alone. Rule 2, don't ask when you'll die. Rule 3, if it gets weird, say goodbye and stop. Simple, comforting. Like a seatbelt in a car you don't trust." At first, nothing happened. The planchette sat there like a dead thing. So they did what people always do when silence gets awkward. They pushed. Just a little. Then the smallest movement started, not a glide, more like a reluctant pull. They asked the usual questions. "Is anyone here? Can you tell us your name?" And the planchette moved to yes. That's when the atmosphere changed, not with a bang, with a tightening, like the room had decided to listen. One of them laughed too loudly and said, "Prove it," and the candles dipped at the same time, not out, just lower. That's when someone remembered another rule. A rule they hadn't said out loud. Don't look in mirrors during a session, because if something is there, mirrors make it easier to notice. And in that rented house behind them was a dark TV screen, a perfect mirror. One of them glanced at it without thinking, then froze. He whispered, "Don't move," and the planchette started sliding faster. Here's what we know so far. They came for a thrill. The board answered. The room tightened, and someone saw something in the reflection. Now the worst part. The part where the rules stop being superstition and start being a rope you cling to. The friend who looked at the TV didn't scream. He just went pale and said, "There's someone behind us." Nobody turned around, because turning around felt like agreeing. The planchette moved in hard, sharp lines, not spelling a name, spelling a sentence. G-O-T-H-E-C-O-R-N-E-R. And that's when the panic arrived. Not fear, panic. Because fear is a story you tell yourself. Panic is your body deciding you're already too late. One of them tried to pull their hands away, and the other grabbed their wrist and hissed, "No, rule 1, don't break contact. Do you see what's happening?" The rules aren't about spirits. They're about keeping people from spiraling. The friend who'd seen the reflection started crying without sound. Tears, but no noise. like he didn't want to be heard. Then the planchette shot to goodbye, fast, violent, like a slam. And here's the detail that still doesn't sit right. None of them had suggested ending it. None of them wanted to. But the board did. So do the rules save you? My verdict as a storyteller is this. Most rules are psychological. They give you structure when your brain is trying to turn shadows into threats. Goodbye is a full stop. A candle is a focal point. A circle is a boundary your mind can respect, even if the dark doesn't. But here's what remains unexplained. Why did the board rush to goodbye on its own timing? Why did it give an instruction, go to the corner, that none of them had spoken? And why, after they said goodbye, did the friend who looked at the mirror refuse to sit with his back to a dark screen ever again? The worst part wasn't the movement. It was the moment it stopped, and nobody wanted to take their fingers off. Because in that pause, the rules became real, not as protection from spirits, as protection from ourselves. One question for you in the comments. What's the one Ouija rule you'd never break? Goodbye, no mirrors, no solo sessions or something else.